Hi guys, I wanted to come today and do a little eyeshadow tutorial. Very basic, but it can be used with any colors that you want to use. That's browns, blacks, blues, purples, greens, anything you want. But you can use this idea to create a really nice eyeshadow look. You can do this with smoky eyes even, you just use a little bit more product. Just really depends on what you want. So when I start, I always do my eye makeup first. I actually do my shadow and then my mascara and then the rest of my makeup. There's a couple reasons for that. One is I want to make sure that if I spill anything or make a mess, I can clean it off and I don't have to completely start over with my foundation. And the second is once I do my shadow, I can use my concealer and my foundation to create really clean lines around the edges. So I'll talk a little bit about that after I do my eyeshadow. So what I do first is I take my eye primer, and this is different than the Glorious Face and Eye Primer. It doesn't feel quite as oily. The other one's not oil-based either, but this is a little bit drier. And this will make your shadows last much longer and be more vibrant, so you don't have to use near as much product. And it is kind of flesh colored, so I'm gonna put a little bit here so you can see. That's probably way too much to use, but I'll wipe some of it off with my Shine Wipe. And I just stretch my eye out just a little bit, rub it in just like a lotion over my entire eye. And I even go down to where I would put my eyeliner on. And you always want to make sure that once you put on primer that you let it dry first before you apply any of your makeup. And so I get a nice even coat. And on me, you can't tell that there's any different color. I wouldn't expect that you could on anyone else because it rubs in and it really does feel like a lotion. So I'm gonna let that dry. And what I'm gonna use today is my Addiction palette, which is number 3, which is the purples and the pinks. This just happens to be my favorite, but you can use any of the palettes, or you can use any of your pigments, or you can use any shadow. You don't have to use our unique products. Of course, I recommend them because their pigments are pretty strong, so that makes a big difference. So what I do, I typically start with my deluxe brush, and the brush looks kind of like this. It's flat, it's a little puffy and fluffy, and I pick a matte color. So there are several different matte colors here to choose from, but I'm going to go with this pink, which may seem a little bit crazy, but it doesn't come out looking really pink, and I go over the entire base of my eye. So I'm just going to take and put a little bit of this on, and I cover the entire eye. So even though some of this is going to be covered up, it gives you a really nice clean look, and you don't have to try and go back and add this at the end. If you did, then it would sometimes cover some of the colors that you put on, or you might not have a perfect line. So I'm just going to go all the way across my eye. So I have a nice palette, literally, to work with. Make sure you go all the way out to the edges. And then I take a crease brush. It's rounded. You can see that. And then I take one of the darker colors. If you're doing a smoky eye, you might want to go with the black, but I'm going to go with this dark purple color. It's got a little sparkle to it. It's called Cheeky, which is just kind of a fun color. Put a little bit on the end of this brush. And what I do is I always pull my eye out just a little bit because I want to make sure I have a flat surface to work with. And I just make a little circle here at the end. Just a little polka dot, really. It's more of an oval, I guess. And then I grab it and I go all the way across the top in the crease. So it's actually right on the crease bone. And I have tiny little eyeballs, and there's not a whole lot to work with. Get a little bit more product. And if I tap, I can get a really nice clean look. So you have kind of a little U-shaped, if you can see that very well. So I take that. Then the next thing I use is my liner shader brush. And it's a flat brush. It's not quite as puffy, I guess, as the deluxe brush. And I'm gonna take this brown color. So I wanna do something that's not as dark as my outside edge and not as light as my base that I started with. So I'm gonna use this. It's kind of a brown gold color. So really you're just thinking about darks and lights. And I always like to put a little shimmer on the inside. So I'm going to go from the inside of that little dot that I created, and then right underneath that line I drew in the crease, And then I'm going to bring that in almost to the inside edge. So you can see how pretty that's already getting. And I'm blending a little bit as I go. So I don't have a straight line here, and I don't have a straight line right at the top. So I'm just blending. So now I have a nice center. And then the next thing I do is I use the same brush, and I always keep a little towel with me, and I just wipe it off real quick so I can use a different color, and it comes off pretty easily, so I never have a problem. I don't have to wash brushes or have a different brush for every color I use or anything like that. And then I use a very light color. So you can either go with the matte or go with the shimmer. It doesn't really matter, whatever your preference is, but I'm gonna go with the shimmer, and I'm gonna use Smitten, which is almost a white, silvery shimmer. And then I'm gonna go from the inside in and meet that brown color and go right up to the top. And then I have all three of my colors. And I'm gonna go back with my deluxe brush because I don't want to have a super sharp edge. And I am just going to soften the edges and all the way up across and all the way down towards the inside. Just softening it all up a little bit. And there I've got my shadows. So now when I go back at the end and put my foundation and concealer on, I can really make a nice clean cut right here with my foundation. So if I don't have a perfect line, I can make a perfect line, but it's pretty darn good. Then the last thing I do, this is just me personally. We have plenty of liners. We have liquid liners. We have pencils, all kinds of good things, and I do go back and forth, but I like, if I'm in a hurry, to use my shadow. It gets a nice matte. So I'm actually gonna use this black as my eyeliner, and I'm just gonna take my rose water, here it is, and I'm gonna spray it right on this black. And you can do this with any of them. And then I'm gonna take the other side of this liner shader brush, and it's a very sharp, straight edge, put it right into my shadow. And I am going to go from the inside edge and draw a little line. And I kind of tap. I feel like that gives me a better coverage. I'm just gonna get a little bit more because I want a nice dark black line. And this dries super fast. And I'm gonna go all the way out to that dark color, which is my dark purple. Let that dry so I don't transfer it to the top of my eye. I'm blowing that a little bit. Well, I can't really blow on it. I just wave at it a little. And then I'm gonna do the same thing at the bottom. Spray my rose water again. And this doesn't harm your shadows in any way. And then I'm gonna do the under. Same way, just tap a little bit. Another benefit to doing your mascara after this is you get a really nice dark line. Sometimes if you're trying to do your liner with your mascara already on, it's hard to see where you want that to go. I want to make sure that I connect this top line and this bottom line. And you can see I've already got a little dust underneath my eyes. So I always make sure I do that first. Now I'm actually gonna wipe this off with my shine wipes because that black is such a dark color. And I am gonna go and I'm gonna use this same brown color and I'm gonna spray my rose water right in it. Same thing, just gonna use this liner shader brush. Sorry, my rose water's almost out. And I'm gonna do the inside line of my eyes. Again, you can use a pencil for this if you want. We have lots of pretty shimmery pencils. But I like using some of the same colors from the top and bringing it down. And if you can see, I've got that really silvery brown. And then I will take some of my powder foundation, the loose powder, and I can brush right underneath just to clean up any of that. So even if you decide you want to do your foundation first. And that's how I get my shadows. Of course, to do your mascara and your foundation later. So anyway, there's little tips and tricks, and I hope that helped you out. Thanks.